Welcome back. Today, we're counting down the top most valuable U.S. Abraham Lincoln wheat penny steel pennies that even in bad condition, Roosevelt 1 dime that even in different condition are still worth big bucks. Let's get started. First up, the 1924 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in black shade condition. If you're a collector or just curious about coin values, you won't want to miss this. The Lincoln wheat penny was first issued in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, designed by Victor David Brenner. The coin features a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, while the reverse showcases 2 stalks of wheat symbolizing the country's agriculture. Throughout its production, the wheat penny became a staple of American currency, with millions minted each year. However, today, we're focusing specifically on the 1924 issue, which is notable for being produced without a mint mark indicating it was minted in Philadelphia. The year 1924 was a significant time in American history, marked by the economic prosperity of the Roaring Twenties. The demand for coins was high, and the U.S. Mint produced a substantial number of Lincoln pennies that year. Yet the 1924 Lincoln penny has garnered interest among collectors due to its scarcity in certain conditions, particularly those that exhibit unique characteristics. What do we mean by black shade condition? This refers to a coin that has developed a dark, often tarnished appearance due to oxidation or environmental exposure. While some collectors prefer coins in pristine, uncirculated condition, others appreciate the character of coins that tell a story through their wear. Coins in black shade condition can sometimes be undervalued due to their appearance. However, it's essential to recognize that each coin's value can vary significantly based on collector interest, rarity, and overall market trends. So what's the value of the 1924 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in black shade condition today? As of now, auction prices for this particular coin can range widely, typically falling between $54,000 in this condition. However, this can increase significantly depending on factors such as demand and the specific characteristics of the coin itself. Collectors often look for distinct features such as die varieties or any unique imperfections that might set a coin apart from others. It's not uncommon for some 1924 Lincoln pennies to fetch higher prices, especially if they are part of a larger collection or have been graded by a reputable organization. The 1924 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in black shade condition is a fascinating piece of history with a value that can vary greatly depending on its unique traits and market demand. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting, understanding these nuances can greatly enhance your appreciation for coin collecting. Up the 1996 Roosevelt 1 dime with P mint mark. If you're curious about its worth in today's auction market, especially in a unique condition, stay tuned. The Roosevelt dime, introduced in 1946, honors President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The 1996 version features the iconic profile of Roosevelt on the obverse, while the reverse showcases a torch flanked by an olive branch and a sprig of oak, symbolizing liberty and peace. Now let's talk specifics. The 1996 dime is notable for its P mint mark, indicating it was minted in Philadelphia. This particular coin is composed of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, giving it a distinct silvery appearance. The weight is 2.5 grams and its diameter is 17.91 millimeters. But what really sets this coin apart today is its condition. In our focus today, we're examining a 1996 Roosevelt dime in a color-changed, dirty, and damaged condition. Coins in such a state might be less appealing to traditional collectors, but they can still attract interest for various reasons. Let's break down what we mean by color-changed and damaged. A color change often occurs due to environmental factors, such as exposure to moisture or chemicals, which can alter the surface appearance of the coin. In our case, this dime has developed a tarnished look that can be either intriguing or off-putting depending on the collector's perspective. Now, regarding its market value as of today, a 1996 Roosevelt dime with P mint mark in poor condition, like the one we're discussing, typically falls in the lower range of collectible dimes. Despite its damaged state, auction prices can vary. In today's market, you might find such a coin listed anywhere from $56,000, depending on the auction site and the level of interest from bidders. One common question that arises with coins in damaged condition is whether to clean them. I advise against it. Cleaning can significantly reduce a coin's value because it often leaves scratches or other marks. The best approach is to leave the coin as it is, and let collectors decide its value based on its current state. As a collector, always remember that rarity, demand, and condition play vital roles in determining a coin's value. While a 1996 Roosevelt dime in color changed, damaged condition may not fetch a high price, it still holds its unique charm and historical relevance. Next up, the 1909 Lincoln Wheat penny. This particular coin, notable for its design and history, is a must-know for collectors and enthusiasts alike. We'll explore its background, details, and most importantly, its value in today's auction market, specifically focusing on the 1909 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark in bad condition. So let's get started. The Lincoln Wheat penny was first minted in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it features a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse with the words "In God We Trust" above and the date at the bottom. The reverse showcases two wheat stalks symbolizing prosperity and the agricultural roots of the United States. The introduction of this coin marked a significant shift in American coinage, moving from the Indian head design to the now iconic Lincoln Wheat design. The 1909 penny is especially notable for being the first Lincoln coin produced, making it a historical piece in its own right. The 1909 Lincoln Wheat penny was produced in two variations: the 1909 S penny, minted in San Francisco, and the more common 1909 without a mint mark, which was minted in Philadelphia. The absence of a mint mark on the coin indicates that it was struck in Philadelphia. The 1909 Lincoln Wheat penny, without a mint mark, had a total mintage of over 28 million coins, making it relatively common in terms of availability. However, condition plays a crucial role in determining its value. When we talk about the condition of a coin, we're referring to its grade, which can range from poor to uncirculated. In this case, we're specifically looking at the bad condition category. A coin in bad condition typically exhibits significant wear, scratches, and possibly corrosion or other types of damage. For collectors, coins in poor or bad condition can still hold value, but it is significantly less than those in fine or mint condition. It's essential to recognize that even a worn-out coin can tell a story and hold historical significance. Now let's get to the exciting part: the value of the 1909 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark in bad condition. As of today, coins in this condition are generally valued between $78,000 in the auction market. While this may seem low compared to coins in better condition, it's important to note that demand can fluctuate based on collector interest and market trends. Next up, the 1943 Abraham Lincoln penny, specifically the large date variety with a D mint mark, and its current value in today's auction market, even in dirty condition. So if you're a collector or just curious about coins, stick around. First, let's set the stage by understanding the historical context of the 1943 Lincoln penny. This coin was produced during World War II when copper was scarce. As a result, the U.S. Mint created pennies using zinc-coated steel instead of the usual copper. However, in 1943, a small number of pennies were mistakenly struck in bronze, leading to a significant variety of Lincoln pennies, including the 1943 D large date penny. The D indicates that this coin was minted in Denver. Now, what makes the 1943 large date penny with a D mint mark particularly interesting? Collectors and numismatists value this coin not only for its historical significance, but also for its rarity. The large date version is distinguishable from the small date penny, which adds to its collectability. Now, let's talk about the condition today. We're focusing on the 1943 D large date penny. In dirty condition, coins can be affected by various factors such as age, exposure, and handling, leading to dirt and grime accumulating on their surfaces. While dirt may seem unappealing, it's important to note that the condition of the coin can impact its value. A dirty coin might not fetch the same price as a well-preserved one, but it can still hold significant value, especially for a coin with this much history. In today's auction market, the value of the 1943 Abraham Lincoln penny with a D mint mark in dirty condition varies widely. As of now, these coins can sell for anywhere between $58,000, depending on the level of dirt, wear, and overall interest from collectors. However, if this coin were in a better condition, the value could easily climb into the hundreds. Experts suggest that collectors interested in Lincoln pennies should not overlook those in less than ideal condition. The unique history and rarity of the 1943 D large date penny make it a worthwhile addition to any collection. So whether you have a dirty 1943 Lincoln penny or are considering adding one to your collection, remember that its value lies not just in its condition, but also in its rich history. If you're curious about what your coins are worth or how to care for them, stay tuned for our upcoming videos. Next up, the 1946 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny in large date format without a mint mark, particularly in a unique black shade condition. If you're a collector or just starting your journey, this video is packed with information that you won't want to miss. First, let's set the stage by discussing the wheat penny itself. Introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the wheat penny features a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat stalks on the reverse. This design remained until 1958, making it a beloved piece among collectors. The 1946 penny marks a post-war era where coinage resumed production after the shortages of World War II. During this time, the U.S. Mint struck a large number of coins to meet the demands of a growing economy. Now let's look at the specifications of the 1946 Lincoln wheat penny. The coin is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing 2.5 grams and measuring 19 millimeters in diameter. For our focus today, we're looking at the large date variety, which features a bolder, clearer date compared to its small date counterpart. Importantly, this coin has no mint mark, indicating that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which was the primary mint for the United States at that time. Next, let's discuss the condition of our featured coin. When we refer to a coin in black shade condition, we are often talking about a coin that has experienced significant wear and tarnish. This can occur due to prolonged exposure to elements or improper storage. In the world of coin grading, coins are assessed on a scale from poor to mint state, and black shade coins usually fall somewhere on the lower end of that scale. While they might not fetch the highest prices, they can still hold sentimental value and interest for collectors. As of today, the value of this coin can vary significantly based on several factors, including its overall condition, demand among collectors, and market trends in typical auction settings. You can expect to see these coins valued between $29,000 in black shade condition. However, the prices can increase if the coin has unique features or history. If you're looking to buy or sell this coin, consider checking out local coin shops, online auction platforms like eBay or coin shows. Remember to verify the authenticity and condition of the coin before making a purchase or sale, as this will impact its value. In conclusion, the 1946 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny in large date format without a mint mark, especially in black shade condition, is a remarkable piece of history. Whether you're adding it to your collection or considering it as an investment, understanding its value and background is essential. Next up, the 1992 D. Roosevelt dime. This coin might look ordinary at first glance, but its value in today's auction market might surprise you. So, let's explore its history, significance, and current market value. First, let's take a quick look at the history behind the Roosevelt dime. Minted since 1946, the Roosevelt dime was designed by famed engraver John R. Sinnock. It was created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who passed away in 1945. The coin features a profile of Roosevelt on the obverse and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, thank goodness, peace, and strength. President Roosevelt was not only the 32nd President of the United States, but also a significant figure in American history, leading the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. The Roosevelt dime has been a staple in American coinage for decades and continues to be relevant in the numismatic community. Now, let's talk about the 1992 D. Roosevelt dime specifically. The D mint mark indicates that this coin was produced at the Denver Mint. In 1992, the U.S. Mint produced approximately 334 million dimes, making it a relatively common year for this coin. However, the true value of a coin often lies not just in its mintage, but in its condition and rarity. The term fine condition in numismatics refers to a coin that has visible wear but retains its basic design features. On a fine condition 1992 D. Roosevelt dime, you'll see some details in the hair and face of Roosevelt, as well as the design elements on the reverse side, but they will be slightly worn. These coins are typically not as appealing to collectors as those in better condition, but they still hold value. So, how much is the 1992 D. Roosevelt dime worth in today's auction market currently, in fine condition? This coin typically sells for around $93,000. However, the value can fluctuate depending on market demand and the specific circumstances of the auction. If the coin is part of a special collection or has unique attributes, such as toning or specific marks, it could fetch a higher price. In conclusion, while the 1992 D. Roosevelt dime may not be the most valuable coin out there, it certainly has its place in the hearts of collectors. Understanding its history, condition, and current market value can help you make informed decisions about buying or selling these coins. Next up, the USA Lincoln Wheat penny from 1957 with a large date and a D mint mark will explore its history, characteristics, and most importantly, its value in today's auction market, especially in full dirty condition. So let's get started. First, let's talk about the Lincoln Wheat penny itself. Minted from 1909 to 1958, these iconic coins feature a design that showcases President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, or front, and two wheat stalks on the reverse. The 1957 penny is particularly interesting because it was the last year of the wheat penny series before transitioning to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The 1957 penny came in two varieties, the large date and the small date. Today we are specifically focusing on the large date version, which features a noticeably larger number 7 compared to the small date version. This distinction is essential for collectors. Now let's examine the D mint mark, which signifies that this coin was produced at the Denver Mint. This mint mark is crucial for collectors as it indicates where the coin was struck, and it can significantly affect the coin's value based on its scarcity and demand. Now about the condition of this penny. When we say it's in full dirty condition, we refer to coins that may have accumulated dirt, grime, or even corrosion over the years. While many collectors prefer pristine coins, there is still a market for these dirty coins as they tell a story of their own. In numismatics, coin condition is often graded on a scale from poor to mint state. A full dirty coin would likely fall into the fair or good categories. It may have visible wear, scratches, and discoloration, but these characteristics can add to the coin's history and character, making it appealing to some collectors. To give you a better idea, in recent sales, a 1957 D wheat penny in full dirty condition sold for around $77,000. This value can fluctuate based on auction timing, demand, and other market conditions. For example, if the coin has unique marks or an interesting provenance, it might fetch a higher price. If you happen to come across a 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny, it's always a good idea to check its condition and do a bit of research. You can look at auction results, compare prices, and see what similar coins are selling for. Even if your penny is in full dirty condition, it could still hold value. In conclusion, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny with D mint mark is a fascinating piece of American numismatic history. While it may not be the most valuable coin in pristine condition, its story and the character it holds make it a worthwhile addition to any collection. Next up, the 1967 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark, and specifically, what it's worth in bad condition. So how valuable is it? Let's find out. First, let's take a brief look at the history of the Roosevelt dime. This coin was introduced in 1946, right after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, as a way to honor his legacy, especially his involvement with the March of Dimes campaign to combat polio. The Roosevelt dime has since become a standard part of U.S. coinage. But what makes the 1967 Roosevelt dime particularly interesting? Well, one thing to note is that during this period the U.S. Mint was facing a severe coin shortage. As a result, they decided to omit mint marks from all dimes, quarters, and half dollars produced from 1965 to 1967. So if you have a 1967 dime without a mint mark, don't worry, it's not an error but part of the standard production of that time. The design of the 1967 Roosevelt dime is simple yet iconic. On the obverse, we have a profile of President Roosevelt facing left. On the reverse, there's a torch in the center flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. As for the materials, this dime is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, no silver here, unlike earlier dimes produced before 1965. It weighs about 2.27 grams and has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters. Now, when it comes to determining the value of any coin, the condition is key coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state MS 70. a coin in bad condition typically falls in the poor to fair range. In this state, the coin shows heavy wear and tear, and many of the design details are worn away. It might be scratched, discolored, or damaged in other ways. So how much is a 1967 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark worth in bad condition because it's made from base metals and not silver? Its intrinsic metal value is quite low, typically just a few cents, based on the copper and nickel content. However, in the coin collecting world, even bad condition coins can still have some market value, especially if they have historical significance or collectors are looking for certain dates. As of today's market, if you have a 1967 Roosevelt dime in bad condition, you can expect to sell it for anywhere between $29,000 to around. If you're lucky, a buyer might pay slightly more, but generally because it's a common coin and not made of silver, the value stays low. In better conditions, such as fine or extra fine, the coin could fetch closer to its face value, or slightly higher at around $1. However, one thing that could raise the value of your 1967 Roosevelt dime is if it has any unique errors. While minting errors were less common in this period, they can occur. Some known errors on Roosevelt dimes include off-center strikes, double dies, or clash dies. These types of errors can make even a common dime much more valuable. For example, certain error coins from 1967 have sold at auctions for $40,000 depending on the rarity and severity of the error. So it's always worth carefully inspecting your coin under a magnifying glass to see if you have any unique characteristics. In conclusion, while the 1967 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark in bad condition may not be the most valuable coin out there, it's still a piece of American history for most collectors. It's a simple and affordable way to own a part of the past. If you happen to find one in better condition or with an error, you could be looking at a higher price, so always check your coins carefully. Next up, the USA Lincoln Wheat penny from 1958, specifically the one with a large date and the D mint mark. Will be discussing its value even when it's in bad condition and what you can expect if you're looking to sell or buy one at today's auctions. So let's get started. The 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny holds a special place in the history of U.S. coinage. This was the final year the famous wheat reverse design was minted, before switching to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. And with the Denver Mint, hence the D mint mark, producing over 800 million pennies that year, it's a common coin. But how does the large date version with a D mint mark fare, especially in bad condition? Before we dive into the value, let's quickly go over some basic details about the coin itself. The 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, hence the name Wheat penny. The D mint mark indicates it was minted in Denver. The large date version is more prominent, as the numbers in the date are bigger compared to the small date varieties. So what happens when this coin is in bad condition? You might be thinking it's over 60 years old. Surely it's worth something, right? Well, condition plays a major role in determining a coin's value, and when we talk about bad condition, we're typically referring to coins that have heavy wear, scratches, corrosion, or damage. In terms of grading, a bad condition coin would likely fall into the good or about good category. In these grades, most of the design is worn away and you can barely make out the details, but don't worry, even in this condition, the coin still holds value, especially for collectors who are trying to complete a set. One thing to keep in mind is that demand for wheat pennies, especially those from the 1950s, remains strong. Even though the 1958 D wheat penny isn't rare in bad condition, it's still a part of American history, and collectors love filling those gaps in their albums. If you're looking to sell one, listing it in online auctions or local coin shows is your best bet to get a fair price. When selling a 1958 D wheat penny in bad condition, make sure to set realistic expectations. Start by checking similar listings on eBay or other auction sites to see what these coins are going for. You can also visit local coin shops to get an idea of its value. However, don't expect to get rich overnight. This coin is more about historical value than its metal content or rarity. To wrap things up, the 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny with a large date and D mint mark is a piece of history that remains popular among collectors. In bad condition, it might not be worth much in dollars, typically around $80,000, but it still holds value in the world of numismatics. If you've got one lying around, don't discard it. Add it to your collection or pass it on to another enthusiast. Next up, the 1976 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark, particularly in its dirty condition. You may be wondering what makes this dime so valuable. Well, let's uncover the details together. The Roosevelt dime was first minted in 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who passed away in 1945. The 1976 version is particularly interesting because it was struck during a year of great American history, the bicentennial celebration of the United States. However, unlike some of its more sought-after counterparts, the 1976 dime does not carry a mint mark, which indicates that it was produced in Philadelphia. Let's take a closer look at the design. The obverse features a profile of Roosevelt, while the reverse displays a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. The quality of these features can greatly affect the coin's value, especially when it comes to the condition. Now, when we talk about dirty condition, we're referring to coins that may show signs of wear, tarnish, or other surface imperfections. Although it may seem counterintuitive, even dirty coins can hold value, especially when they are part of a popular series like the Roosevelt dime. Many collectors seek out coins in all conditions, and those in less than perfect shape can sometimes be quite rare. So, how much is a 1976 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark worth in today's auction market? In general, the value of a Roosevelt dime in dirty condition typically ranges from $53,000. However, several factors can influence this price. If you have a 1976 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark in your collection and you're considering selling, platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, and local coin shops are great places to start. Just remember to do your research to determine the best selling strategy based on current market conditions. In conclusion, the 1976 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark may not seem like much at first glance, especially in dirty condition. However, it can still hold significant value in the right context. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, it's essential to understand that every coin tells a story and has its unique place in numismatic history. Next up, the 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny with a D mint mark. But there's something extra unique about the one we're discussing today. It has a black shade condition, so how does that affect its value in today's auction market? Let's dig in. First, let's talk a bit about the history of the 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny. The Lincoln penny, which was first introduced in 1909, is one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. The wheat penny design with the wheat stalks on the reverse side ran until 1958, and today it is one of the most popular coins for collectors. In 1952, the U.S. Mint struck Lincoln Wheat pennies at 3 locations: Philadelphia, which has no mint mark; Denver, marked with D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. The Denver Mint produced over 7.46 million pennies that year, so finding a 1952 D penny isn't uncommon. However, certain factors, such as its condition and unique features, can make all the difference when determining its value. Now, the coin we're focusing on today is in what collectors call a black shade condition. This can happen due to a variety of reasons, including oxidation, environmental exposure, or improper storage over the years. While this doesn't necessarily enhance the value of the coin, it definitely adds an interesting element to its story. Blackened or tarnished coins might be less visually appealing to some collectors, but others may find them unique for their aged appearance. So how does this affect its value in today's auction market? Typically, the base value of a 1952 D wheat penny in circulated condition, such as this black shade one, would be between $37,000. These pennies are not considered rare because of the high mintage numbers from that year. However, when you add in the black shade condition, you're dealing with a coin that might appeal more to specialized collectors who are interested in oddities or coins that have developed unique toning over time. In this case, the blackened appearance may slightly affect the price, but most buyers would still value the coin primarily on its rarity and grade. To sum it up, the 1952 D Lincoln Wheat penny in black shade condition is a fun and unique find, but in terms of value, it's not considered highly rare or expensive. However, its historical significance and unique appearance might make it an interesting piece to add to your collection. Next up, the 1968 Roosevelt 1 dime without a mint mark. In this video, we'll explore what makes this coin special, its historical context, and how much it's worth in today's auction market. So let's get started. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt following his death in 1945, designed by the famous engraver John R. Sinnock. this dime features a profile of Roosevelt on the obverse and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing freedom and peace. The coin we're focusing on today, the 1968 Roosevelt dime, was struck during a time when the United States was facing significant changes both politically and economically. This particular coin was minted in Philadelphia, which means it has no mint mark. To determine a coin's value, it's crucial to assess its condition. The 1968 Roosevelt dime can range in value based on its grade. The grading system goes from poor to perfect uncirculated MS70. The condition we're focusing on today is fine. In fine condition, the details of the coin are still visible. But there may be signs of wear and circulation. In fine condition, you can see some wear on Roosevelt's hair and the detail on the torch, but the overall design remains recognizable and intact. Collectors look for these characteristics when evaluating a coin. Now let's talk about the money. The value of the 1968 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark has seen some fluctuations in the market. As of today, in fine condition, this dime is valued at approximately $44,000 in auctions. While it may not seem like much, it's essential to remember that many modern dimes are worth only face value. On platforms like eBay and heritage auctions, you can find listings for this coin within that price range. However, certain factors can influence the final selling price, such as demand and the specific characteristics of the coin itself. In conclusion, the 1968 Roosevelt one dime without a mint mark, while not the most valuable coin, holds its place as an interesting collectible. With a current auction value of $57,000 in fine condition, it's a great addition for both novice and experienced collectors. Next up, the 1956 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. But before we get into its value, let's take a closer look at this iconic coin. The 1956 Lincoln wheat penny features a design that has captivated collectors for decades. On the obverse, we see the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, which was designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse side showcases the two wheat stalks, symbolizing prosperity and the agricultural heritage of the United States. What makes the 1956 penny special? Well, it's part of the Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909 and continues to this day. The 1956 coin, particularly the large date variety, stands out due to its distinct numerals that are larger compared to other years. The absence of a mint mark indicates that it was struck in Philadelphia, where no mint mark was used on coins from that year. Now, when it comes to evaluating coin value, condition is paramount. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state. The 1956 Lincoln wheat penny in dirty condition likely falls in the lower end of the grading scale. Dirt, grime, and wear can significantly affect a coin's appeal and market value. In the case of a dirty coin, collectors often consider it to be in the good or very good range. While it's tempting to clean a coin, this can lead to further devaluation. It's typically best to leave it in its natural state to avoid damaging the surface. So what is the value of a 1956 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in dirty condition? In today's auction market, values can fluctuate based on demand, condition, and recent sales trends. As of now, you can typically find this coin selling for around $60,000 in its current dirty state. However, if it were to be in better condition, it could command a higher price, potentially reaching up to $76,000 or more for well-preserved examples. Recent auctions show that dirty condition coins don't fetch the highest bids. For instance, listings on platforms like eBay and auction houses often reveal that collectors are willing to pay a bit more for coins that exhibit less wear and dirt. Therefore, if you have one of these coins in better shape, you might want to consider holding onto it or even sending it for grading. In conclusion, while the 1956 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in dirty condition might not break the bank, it still holds historical and sentimental value. Whether you're collecting for fun or as an investment, every coin tells a story. Next up, the 1975 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark. If you've ever come across one of these shiny dimes, you might be wondering, is it worth anything? Well, stay tuned as we uncover its value in today's auction market. First, let's talk about the Roosevelt dime itself. This coin was first issued in 1946 honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing. Designed by the famous sculptor John R. Sinnock, it features a portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse and an olive branch representing peace on the reverse. The 1975 Roosevelt dime, like other dimes produced during this era, was primarily made of copper and nickel. This particular dime does not have a mint mark, which indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, it's essential to note that the presence or absence of a mint mark can significantly impact a coin's value. Now, let's discuss the condition of the coin. You mentioned that we're focusing on the fine condition. Coins in fine condition will typically show moderate wear, but the main details should still be visible. In the case of the 1975 Roosevelt dime, this means that Roosevelt's features are clear, though perhaps a bit softened, and the lettering is still legible. So how much is the 1975 Roosevelt dime worth today? Well, in fine condition, you can expect it to fetch anywhere from at auction. While this may not sound like a fortune, it's important to remember that not every coin from this era holds significant value. The demand among collectors and the overall rarity of certain coins can greatly influence market prices. Several factors can affect the value of the 1975 Roosevelt dime. For instance, coins that have been well preserved or have unique characteristics may command higher prices. Additionally, the coin's provenance, its history of ownership, can also add to its value. If you happen to own a 1975 dime in excellent condition or with an interesting backstory, you might be looking at a much higher auction price. When compared to other years of Roosevelt dimes, the 1975 version without a mint mark is not the most valuable. For example, the 1955 Roosevelt dime with a mint mark can be worth significantly more, sometimes reaching upwards of $93,000 or even more in fine condition. However, the 1975 dime is still a great coin for collectors, especially those focusing on the series or seeking to complete their collections. In conclusion, while the 1975 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark may not break the bank, it's certainly a piece of American history that can be enjoyed by collectors. Whether you're just starting your coin collection or you're a seasoned numismatist, this dime is a valuable addition to your set. Next up, the 1942 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey, understanding the value of this iconic coin is essential, so let's get started. First, let's take a moment to appreciate what makes the 1942 wheat penny so special. Struck by the United States Mint, this penny features the beloved portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the iconic wheat ears on the reverse. The 1942 penny was part of the Lincoln penny series introduced in 1909, and it continued to be produced until 1958. What's particularly interesting about the 1942 penny is that it was produced during World War II, a time when copper was scarce, leading to the production of zinc-coated steel pennies in 1943. But today we're focusing on the copper pennies produced in 1942. The absence of a mint mark indicates that this coin was minted in Philadelphia, which is the original mint where Lincoln pennies were first struck. Now, let's go over some specifications for the 1942 Lincoln wheat penny. This coin weighs 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters, made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, has become iconic in numismatic history, representing not only a significant figure in American history, but also the evolution of coinage in the United States. For a coin to be classified as fine, it should show clear detail, with the design well-defined and moderate wear on the high points. On a fine 1942 Lincoln penny, you should be able to see Lincoln's features and the wheat details on the reverse, albeit slightly worn. So what's the current market value for a 1942 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition? As of today, you can expect to see this coin selling for anywhere between $78,000 at auction, depending on factors like demand, the specific auction platform, and the coin's overall representation. It's important to remember that while this penny may not be as valuable as some other key dates in the series, it remains a cherished piece of American history, and many collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins in good condition. In conclusion, the 1942 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a wonderful addition to any collection. Its historical significance, coupled with its relatively accessible price point, makes it a favorite among collectors. Next up, the 1977 Roosevelt dime with D mint mark in good condition. This little coin might not seem like much at first glance, but it's worth your attention. So stick around as we explore its history, features, and current market value. First, let's talk about the history of the Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt following his death, designed by the famed engraver John R. Sin, Knock the coin features a left-facing profile of Roosevelt on the obverse and an olive branch, a torch, and an oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing peace and strength. In 1977, the mint produced over 212 million dimes, which is a significant number, but only a fraction of these dimes are truly valuable to collectors today. The D-Mint mark indicates that this particular dime was minted in Denver, and this specific minting location adds to its collectability. Now, let's discuss the features that make the 1977 Roosevelt dime distinctive. The coin has a diameter of 17.91 mm and a weight of 2.5 grams. It is made of 91.67% copper and 8.333% nickel, giving it that classic silver-like appearance. In good condition, the dime will show some wear, but the details of Roosevelt's profile should still be recognizable. The letters and the design elements may be slightly worn, but they should not be completely faded. Remember, the condition of the coin significantly affects its value, so keep an eye out for the specifics. Now, let's get to the exciting part: the value. As of today, the 1977 Roosevelt dime with a D-Mint mark in good condition can fetch anywhere from $80,000 in today's auction market. While that might not sound like a fortune, keep in mind that the value can vary based on factors like the demand among collectors, the condition of the coin, and the market trends. If you own a 1977 Roosevelt dime and are thinking of selling it, here are a few tips. First, consider getting your coin graded by a professional grading service. This will give potential buyers confidence in its condition and value. Additionally, keep your coin in a protective holder to prevent further wear and damage. Next up, the 1979 Roosevelt dime with a D-Mint mark. If you're a collector or just curious about the value of your coins, stay tuned as we explore what makes this particular dime so special and how much it's worth in today's auction market. The Roosevelt dime was first minted in 1946, created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing. Designed by John R. Sin, Knock the obverse features a profile of Roosevelt, while the reverse showcases a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Over the years, several versions of the dime have been produced, but today we are specifically looking at the 1979 issue, which was struck in both Philadelphia and Denver, marked by their respective mint marks, the absence of a mint mark for Philadelphia and D for Denver. In 1979, the Denver Mint produced approximately 300 million Roosevelt dimes, making it a common coin in circulation. However, not all 1979 dimes are created equal. The value of a coin depends heavily on its condition and rarity. A dime in fine condition typically shows some wear but retains much of its detail. In contrast, coins in uncirculated condition can command significantly higher prices. A fine condition dime will exhibit wear on the highest points of the design, but the details remain recognizable. This dime may not have the same level of detail as an uncirculated version, but it still holds substantial value for collectors. So how much is the 1979 Roosevelt dime with a D-Mint mark worth today? In the current auction market, a 1979 D dime in fine condition typically ranges from $65,000. This price can fluctuate based on the demand from collectors and the specific auction setting. Some recent auction results have shown that well-preserved specimens can fetch up to $70,000 or more, especially if they are part of a larger collection or come with original packaging. However, it's essential to consider that the condition, the auction platform, and the bidding environment can significantly affect the final selling price. If you think you might have a 1979 D dime or other valuable coins in your collection, here are some tips for identification and preservation. First, always handle your coins by their edges to avoid fingerprints and store them in a cool, dry place, preferably in a coin holder or capsule, to prevent scratches and damage. Next up, the 1974 U.S. Roosevelt dime without a mint mark. Let's find out why this coin is considered valuable, even in bad condition, and how much it's worth in today's auction market. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946, featuring the profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. The 1974 issue is especially intriguing for collectors, primarily due to its minting history and rarity. First, let's talk about the minting details. The 1974 Roosevelt dime was minted in Philadelphia, which is why it doesn't have a mint mark. It's part of a series that continue to be produced every year, but factors such as production volume and collector interest influence its value. In 1974, about 201 million dimes were struck, making it relatively common compared to other years. However, this particular dime's value can vary widely depending on its condition. So, what is the market value of a 1974 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark in bad condition, while most common dimes like this are typically valued at face value, or $55,000? Certain rare varieties or coins that exhibit unique characteristics can be worth more, even in poor condition. As of today's auction market, a 1974 Roosevelt dime in bad condition can sell for about $60,000, depending on factors like the extent of wear and any unique marks or characteristics. It may seem minimal, but when you consider the amount of bad condition coins available, this can add up for a collector. Now, let's discuss market demand. The value of coins can fluctuate based on collector interest. For example, if a particular collector or group of collectors is looking for dimes from specific years or those without mint marks, this can drive up prices even for lower quality coins. Therefore, if you're holding onto a 1974 Roosevelt dime, it might be worth checking auction platforms or local coin shops to see what offers are out there. To sum it up, while the 1974 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark may not be the rarest coin in the world, its value in bad condition is a reflection of market demand and collector interest. If you have one, you might be surprised at how much it can fetch in today's auction market. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more exciting content on coins and collectibles. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions, or if there's a specific coin you'd like us to cover next. Until next time, happy collecting.